What separates top performers from average performers? What do managers look for while hiring candidates? What do managers look for as they're trying to get people in their team promoted? Let's go behind the scenes as we have a chat with Yudhajeet Das Gupta, Senior Manager at AWS. We had a fun conversation to talk about rocket launches, how to be a manager at a young age, leadership, and so much more. So stay tuned. Kind of had me at rocket launch. Tell me more. Is it really that exciting as it sounds?
No, it's more exciting than it sounds.
Okay,
Yes, but I would say it's probably the coolest industry there is.
So if someone wanted to become a manager at a young age,
Yes,
you're saying it's possible.
absolutely. I don't think age matters. I don't think the times the Earth goes around the sun has anything to do with what an individual is capable of. That's a random marker.
People think that if I work 10 times harder than the other person, I'll get promoted. But that's not true. It's about visibility. It's about taking up things that have scale fundamentally.
Yeah.
Hi, Yuji. Welcome to the Early Career Podcast. First of all, thank you so much for your time and commitment.
Of course. Thank you, Priyanka. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I really appreciate people like you coming and talking about topics that we've discussed, and I know you're someone who's very genuine, and that's why I picked you. So hopefully everyone who's watching you is going to have a wonderful time listening to what you have to share. Tell me a little bit about yourself and, what you've been working on lately, both professionally and personally.
Yeah, for sure. First of all, thank you for having me here. And I really appreciate your focus on authenticity and genuineness. Now, that helped me to not prepare for this, which was a time saver. So I did not prepare for this at all. So we will have an unpolished, unvarnished conversation, and I'm looking forward to it. Speaking of professionally and personally, professionally, I am leading a team in AWS. I'm the senior manager of solution architecture in a team called Aerospace and Satellite. And we have customers who work in the space industry, launch rocket launchers, satellite customers, both private companies, public companies all around the world, public organizations all around the world. And I've been doing this for about 7 years now. So
Long time.
It is a long time, and AWS years even longer. So
That's true. I mean,
Yeah.
you kind of had me at rocket launch. Tell me
Yeah.
more. Is it really that exciting as it sounds?
No, it's more exciting than it sounds.
Okay,
It's
good, good.
it's hard to capture the excitement of space missions and rocket launches. I think I'm a little bit biased, but I would say it's probably the coolest industry there is. You would know, you are also associated with this industry, but it is hard to contain the excitement of
Yeah.
when we see space missions happen.
Yeah, and I think there's just a natural sort of excitement. Everyone loves space. You can't find
Yes.
one person who says, "Oh, space, boring."
Yes,
Right?
that is true. At all ages, we are able to grab people's attention,
Yeah,
and everyone looks, oh, that is what you do. It's like instant attention grabber. It
absolutely.
helps in hiring, when you're pitching the role, day to day work, but your customer will land on moon in 2 months, and that's an easy sell.
That's true. That's true. I mean, so you said 7 years at AWS, and what did you do before that? Were you what did you study, and then how did you get into? Was AWS your first job, or did you work before somewhere else?
Yeah, for sure. It's a very linear path. I'm not a very smart person, so I just
That's
have
what
one
all smart.
idea
That's what
and I
all
just
smart
go
people say, by the way.
go on. No, I am the one who's telling the truth. I cannot process parallel thoughts. So I have one thought and I go after it, I think, my entire life. So in 2004, Swadesh came out. And right from when I was born, my mother used to tell me, you will go to NASA, you will work for NASA, this and that. But NASA was a theoretical thing for me and never knew what it really meant. Yeah, a place where smart people go, right? Space is for smart people and all that. But after Swadesh came out, and that's why I'm a champion of diversity as well, it was really inspiring to see someone who looks like me launching a space mission. And I saw that and I was like, yep, that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. And since then, that is everything I have pursued. I went to undergrad in BITS Pilani for electronics and instrumentation. And then I went for my master's in electrical engineering to University of Michigan. It was electrical engineering on paper, but what I really did was I created a satellite. I took a satellite from a trade study phase to integration and testing in about 18 months. And the satellite was then launched in 2020. And that gave me the entry into the space world. Experience is much more valuable than anything that you can learn
That's
sitting
cool.
in classrooms. But I was lucky to get both experience and in classroom learnings in University of Michigan. After which I joined a space company called Atlas Space Operations, situated in Michigan. I was the third employee in that company. It
Wow.
was an up and
How did
coming
I not
startup.
know this? I didn't know this at all about you, even though we've been talking for years.
Yes, that's where I started my professional journey in space. And it was, well, it's a startup, so you wear all the hats there is to wear. But my main role was setting up ground station antennas, like physically setting up ground station antennas, including laying electric lines, pouring concrete, laying the internet connection, electrical connection, everything. You set up ground stations up and running for SNX band satellites. And the experience of 2 years in Atlas Space Operations really set me up for the next role in AWS when they launched ground station, and they were looking for people from the space industry to really open doors and earn that technical trust with the customers. They gave me the chance to join as a satellite specialist solutions architect. I don't know what that title means. There was never another hire in that title, so we can assume how it went. We hire one, we never hire again. So satellite specialist solution architect is how I joined Amazon.
Right. But I actually didn't know this about you, even though we've been friends for so many years.
Yeah.
But tell me about, I know that you then pivoted from that to becoming a manager,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
How did that happen?
Being a leader is something I have always related to. I've always wherever I have gone, I've tried to be the leader. So it was a natural transition of becoming a manager eventually in professional life as well. There were learnings along the way. Everyone is a leader in Amazon, right? We are all leaders of our own business, of our own work stream and everything. But leading an entire team, becoming a manager, an official manager, and evaluating people, setting strategy, setting direction, setting goals formally, I think that was a great opportunity that early in my career.
So if someone wanted to be, and I'm assuming you were in your early 30s when you
Yes, I was
became a manager.
31 when I became manager for the first time in Amazon.
Amazing journey. So if someone wanted to become a manager at a
Yes.
young age,
Yes.
you're saying it's possible.
Absolutely. I don't think age matters. I don't think the times the earth goes around the sun has anything to do with what an individual is capable of. That's a random marker. As long as somebody is willing to learn the skills, the EQ required for the role, I think that is achievable at any age.
I see. Tell me a little bit more about this EQ thing you talk about, because I feel like that's something you and I have talked
Yes.
at great extent, and I think it's something that is becoming increasingly more important. Tell me how, as a manager, you felt like having high EQ was almost non-negotiable, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, leadership has something that I have done before I became a manager professionally. But looking back, I think I approach leadership in a little bit out of order kind of way. So for me, leadership meant two things. One was you protect your people, right? Anything that comes, any negative thing that comes their way, it has to go through me first. Anything you want to blame me first. Success is shared, and blame is on me. That's number one. Number two was demonstrating excellence through competence. I really have to be great at something for to be able to lead. Now, neither of those things are absolute necessity. I have learned. Instead, what I would say is absolutely critical is empathy. If you're not empathetic if you're not empathetic regarding the people you are leading, then you're not leading in the right way. As a manager, I have learned a lot of the times you cannot solve the problems, which was unthinkable for me, because I used to think that if you put your mind to something, you can solve it.
Yeah,
That's not
logical, right?
correct.
Yeah,
Just rational thing. It's a very linear thing. It's what I used to think. It's not linear at all. Like many of the times things are going on in people's life. There are business decisions that are taken way outside your sphere of influence, day to day things that happen that are outside your control. You cannot solve, I cannot solve most of the things, most of the problems that come my way, but the bare minimum I can start from a place of empathy. If you cannot do that, then there won't be the connection with the people. So I think empathy is the foundations on which leadership should be built.
I see. Give an example of uh, how empathy helped the business. Basically, what I'm trying to ask is, sometimes people think, oh, empathy, oh, how does that has no relationship to business success in the business world. But I think there is, and that's what you were saying too, right? So, like, can you share like a quick example of why it is so important and compelling to have empathy and how it actually drives business outcomes in
Yeah,
reality?
for sure, for sure. Especially in the space industry, space is a tough industry, and I'm not saying that to minimize any other industries, but the margin for error in space is very limited. That's because space historically used to be government programs with more funding, and new space is a fairly new concept where you have private funding, and you're
Commercial,
still
yeah,
demonstrating success. What business really looks like. It used to be going to space used to be the main thing, which has now become okay, you go to space, that has been mechanized. Now what?
yeah,
So what if you go to space? Which is just fascinating to me, right? Because going to space is not enough. Now you're asking, how can you make business from being in space?
yeah,
So when going to space is the default, and we are still iterating on what good business cases look like, sometimes things go sideways. Satellites don't work out, launches, rockets blast on takeoff, and things like that. So a lot of the times I have customers who are going through downtimes, and because of that our business goes through downtimes at all. So having those conversations with the customers, you cannot pivot to, yes, you are cutting costs, but, right, uh, you cannot say that. But the moment you say but, the first part of the sentence gets
gone,
invalidated,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But truly understanding the customers, like being patient with them, holding their hands in the journey that you are taking together with the customers is super super essential. Yes, your business is down, and you are doing the best you can. You're under a lot of pressure. You're not meeting your goals, right? But the customer is also under pressure. You are under pressure of not meeting your goals. Your customer is under the pressure of going out of business. So
yeah,
the perspective is a little bit different. So be empathetic to the customers. My customers are my employees, so similar situations happen.
right.
And yeah, I think showing empathy is absolutely important for business success.
Makes a lot of sense. And so if someone is, in that age range and they're applying for a manager position, what would you suggest? What are the qualities you think they should exhibit in an interview? Just a few points there.
Um, Again, age does not matter. So
No,
I
the reason
wouldn't
I
look
bring
at.
up age is
Yeah.
because there is a perception of age where even in job descriptions, right?
Right.
There's, if I need 15 years of work experience to be a manager, because those are traditional job descriptions traditionally
Yes.
haven't changed a lot.
Yes.
And bringing that reality into this perspective,
Yes.
if someone is aspiring to be a manager at a younger age, relatively
Yes.
younger age than the industry is prepared for, what you said already, that they shouldn't fear age. So that's
Correct.
great. That barrier is gone. But
Correct.
then how do we prepare them for an interview
Yeah, for
to
sure.
be a manager?
Um, when I look at experience, like I said, I don't see the number of years. I try to see the diversity of experience. Have you seen the full spectrum of how a work life can go through? If somebody is showing only success, success, success in their resume, that can't be true. If you have not gone through failure, like real failure, I haven't seen resilience yet, right? Because this will happen. It is bound to happen. Sometimes in 15 years you see the ups and downs of business cycles. Sometimes that happens in 5 years if you're in a startup. So if you're working at nights, will it be 7.5 years of experience? Probably not. So what I would suggest is showing the entire diversity of your experience, because you learn you learn skills, you learn transferable skills, both from good times and from bad times. And sometimes the skills you learn from bad times are more
Yeah.
valuable than the ones you learn from good times. Sometimes you're complacent. I was during good times, I was complacent running my business, and the bad times made me really dial down on my business. So demonstrating diversity of experience, demonstrating the ability to regulate emotions. If you cannot regulate your own emotions, then you won't have the power to channel other people's emotions. So you have to be more centered. Lesser peaks and troughs in your emotional variances always helps. Mainly because peaks and troughs expend a lot of energy. So if you're spending a lot of energy controlling your emotions, you don't have a lot left to give to others. So being that centered person, and having the balance in your life, not going work, having an outlet, many multiple outlets to have a good work life balance, and the ability to set strategy, to see the forest beyond the trees, those kind of things, setting the right vision. And those are some of the skills that I would say.
I, and I guess one other skill to add to that is, correct me if I'm wrong, but not jumping into solutions immediately as you're going to
Oh,
interviews. Talk a little bit about that too, please.
oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. In our desperation to prove ourselves or say the right things, we always jump to here's a problem, here's the solution, right? Early in my journey as a solution architect, individual contributor, a senior solution architect, a principal solution architect at the time, Nathan
Yeah, yeah,
McGirt.
we know you're very very successful. Got it.
No, no, no. He was the principal solutions architect, and Nate McGirt, what a smart guy. He told me that when I was asking him that customers are throwing questions left and right to me, and I don't have the answer because I've not worked in IT before. I know a space a little bit. IT is new to me. How can I prepare myself for all sorts of right answers? Because I want to give them the solution they want. He said that the real trick is in asking the right questions, not necessarily knowing the right answer. And I feel it's very relevant today in the age of information, when information is so easily available, especially through AI. Anybody can get the right answers if they ask the right questions anywhere. Why do they need me then? Why are they talking to me? One, for a human connection, but secondly, so that I am able to ask the right questions and really listen, not try to be in a, okay, I'll answer you, this conversation is over, okay, I'll dazzle you with the right answer so that you think I'm so smart.
Absolutely.
Those are not important at all. It's more important to really listen, understand the problem, empathize, ask more critical questions, and have them come to the solution in a much more sustainable way than you offering a solution
Yeah,
out of the box.
absolutely. I think I couldn't have said it better. It's funny because sometimes when people ask me in a very serious context, "Hey Priyanka, so how do you, how do you regulate yourself, or how do you say the right things in an interview?" And I'm like, "Do you meditate?" You know? They're like, "Wait, what do you mean? I'm asking a technical question, serious
Yeah.
question." They're like, "Yeah, I'm also asking you a very serious question,"
It is serious, yeah.
right?
If
And
meditation is your ways to centering, absolutely.
whatever the way is, right? But I
Yeah.
feel like if one doesn't have a way to center themselves, to
Yeah.
connect with themselves, they're just talking random stuff that they
Hmm.
found on the internet, right?
Yeah.
So I think one of the takeaways I got from what you said is being open to listening, and being open to being vulnerable, and being
Mhm.
comfortable in being vulnerable, because I think that is more of a strength than people think it is. In fact, I feel like the more I say people, "Hey, I'm not really sure about this," the more they feel like they can trust me.
Yeah,
But
you're accepting the
yeah,
truth
I'm
right
like,
now.
"Hey, I don't know," and I'm like, "You tell me, maybe you know it." And
Yeah,
that's also a way to the art of making people feel valued and important,
for sure.
right? So how do you manage as a manager, like, managing up versus managing down? Because I'm sure there's a lot of friction. There can be friction, as as you said, you want to care for your team the most, but you
Mhm.
also have to manage a business up. So what is the mindset?
um yeah, I don't think there's friction so much. Sometimes there are scenarios I have not encountered before, so I'm sort
Sure.
of clueless as what to do right now.
But what was
I
your thought? What if it were to happen, what would you do then?
Yeah, for sure. First of all, I have had great managers in my career who I treat more like mentors rather than managers, because I feel that I manage myself. I don't need anyone else to manage my day to days and things like that. But if I bring a problem to you, I would appreciate some different kind of thought, different ways in which I could approach the problem. And I have had great managers slash mentors in my career. I try to do the same with my team as well. That you attack any problem independently with your own opinion, your own experience, your own network, and come to me to iterate, to ideate, rather than a prescriptive solution to a problem. Because especially the role that we fulfill in solution architecture, there's so much nuance, there's so much gray, that it's very hard to find prescriptive solutions. I also try to hire people who have different skill sets than that I don't have, so they can attack problems in different ways. One is experience, right? There's no compression algorithm for experience, right? I am acutely aware of not having many years of experience. I have not seen many cycles of IT that has happened over the years. I have not been in the workforce for that long. So I have people in my team. I have hired people with those skill sets, 10 years of experience in mainframe, 15 years of experience in database and things like that. That I rely upon. I rely upon their experience. I rely upon their know-how and expertise to navigate through a problem. But what I seek as non-negotiables when I hire is to talk in terms of Amazon leadership principles. Is I cannot teach ownership, and I cannot teach bias for action. I can teach every other leadership principle. I cannot teach those two. That's because I learned those two from life experiences, and I cannot recreate the exact same life experiences to teach that to my team. So if you bring that to my team, if you see a problem, raise your hand, say, yep, I'm going to solve it. And I'm going to take some action to do this. May not be the right thing, but I will do something to own that problem. I'm
Yeah,
good.
you're spot on, because sometimes people think that they need to know everything
Yeah,
to solve a problem, but more important than knowing everything, as you said, is ownership. Saying,
yeah.
"Hey, I'm going to try to solve this
Willingness
problem."
to try. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. It's very interesting. You also mentioned something that I wanted to catch, which is you said manager slash mentor,
Hmm.
right? Sometimes people view managers as managers, and I personally feel like there could be more uh, to that relationship, which is that slash of mentor.
Correct.
And I feel personally that a, that someone who is a good manager should be a good mentor. That's how they can
Hmm.
actually be a good manager.
Hmm.
So, and I sometimes struggle to explain to people why it's important to seek mentorships, to find mentors, and to also network actively in your
Hmm.
community. I know I have had a lot of gain in my life. In fact, we've been friends now for so many years, but that
Hmm.
started off with some random initiative that we kind of just chatted about, and then now years later we're talking, right?
Yeah.
And so I've always tried to play a very active part in fostering the relationships, professional relationships in my own life, and having them be mentors and friends, and basically investing in active learning, right?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more what's your perspective, and also what advice you would want to give to people who are in their early career for creating those, actively working on creating those networking and mentoring relationships where you won't necessarily get that dopamine hit of immediate impact.
Correct.
It's a long term game. Well, I don't want to call it a game, but it's a long, it's something you have to like just keep doing, and just with the focus of intent of learning. So what can advice can you give to people from that perspective?
Correct. Thankfully, I have had really good managers in my career who I have been able to treat as mentors. But I sometimes it is not possible to be completely open in front of a manager, because it's human nature. If somebody is evaluating us, then we will be a little bit more performative self. We want to look good. We definitely want to look good, or rather we don't want to look bad. So we cap our questions. What kind of questions should we ask? Should we ask something that our manager should think obviously you should know the answer to? I'm sure as a manager I don't think like that, but I can appreciate if somebody thinks like that, or somebody's afraid that their manager will think like that. That's where the mentor fulfills a role. Mentor fulfills the role where you can bring a completely open-ended question, just to absorb the knowledge and not a point of view of your own. If you bring a point of view on your own, you'll think you'll either be right or be wrong, but sometimes there is a whole wide world between those two extremes. I once asked a mentor, in your role as an executive, how do you know you have taken the right decision? How do you not freeze at the time, because the decision has so many consequences? How do you know, okay, now I will make the decision and it will be right? To which the mentor said that it's my job to take the decision. Whether it's right or wrong, we'll only know with the passage of time. But I am getting paid to take decisions. Otherwise, they'll have some other executive taking the decisions, right? So I cannot afford to freeze in time. I thought that was pretty valuable. So to a mentor, you can bring life questions, you can bring struggles, and you can be much more open than you can in a formal chain of leadership kind of relationship.
Absolutely. And so, how should people be seeking these mentors out? Like, a lot of people say, yeah, I'd love to have that, but I don't know how to do it.
I think it works best if you work backwards from the gaps, and you have the gaps I have in my skill set, in my career journey, in my resume, rather than trying to go with someone who is visible, who is, has a big title, or those kind of things. If I struggle in making my work efficient, like email management, for example, and there are is inbox zero email ninjas who have so many ideas to do that. If my gap is speaking in front of a high stake audience, then I can go to someone who I see is very polished, knows the right answer, despite whether they're prepared or not. Most of the times unprepared, right? You see that person, like, oh, I want to learn what they have to offer. But starting with what gaps I have is a good ROI way of investing time in mentorship.
Absolutely. You know what? I like the way you said, starting with the gaps that I have. I think to do that, one needs to be introspective enough.
Introspection, yes.
And I think that itself is a huge hurdle to cross, right?
100%.
Like, I feel like it took me years of my life to get to a point where I could be objective about myself without being offended or defensive that I think this about myself or someone else thinks this about me, right? So I guess that brings me to the topic of feedback.
Okay.
When we all love feedback, right?
The gift of feedback.
The gift of feedback, right? It is actually, if you
It is.
if you look at it that way, right? So but if when you're in your early 20s, right? If you imagine someone who's an undergrad, maybe someone in masters, someone who's just in the workforce, entered the workforce, or someone who's looking for a job and they get some feedback, how should people view feedback? How should they take it, and what should they do with it?
Although feedback is a gift, it is not always nice to get constructive feedback, as they say. But to be honest, critical feedback. I have gotten feedback about things that I don't have emotional attachment to, like how I can do better at work. I don't have a lot of emotional attachment to that, because I think there are so many people much smarter than me around, so there's always opportunity for improvement. But in many areas in life, I have a lot of emotional attachment. Music, for example, I have gotten critical feedback on music, and it has not made me happy. So first of all, acknowledging that your first reaction to feedback will will tell a lot about yourself, and whether you're ready to take that feedback or not. It's not every day is a day where I will get up and say, yeah, I want all the critical feedback today.
Yeah.
No, I'm having a tough day. It's been a tough day at work. I have not eaten lunch so far, and on an empty stomach, I don't want critical feedback. I want a full stomach before that. I want to be a good state of mind. So first, when I give people feedback, I always ask, do you want the feedback today, or do you want the feedback at some other point?
That's amazing. I love that. I just love that.
Yeah. So because I wouldn't want feedback at any random time of the day. If I'm driving and you tell something, but I don't want at that time. But
But that also, I guess, sorry to interrupt.
yeah,
It
yeah,
also
no worries.
comes with a caveat, I guess, that the other person should be aware enough to actually want the feedback
Yeah,
at some point, at least, because
yeah,
otherwise. So I think that understanding, or basically, it's this context is, or this advice is only applicable in the context where two people are emotionally aware, generally, as people.
correct, 100%. Yes.
Continue.
But given somebody is ready to accept the feedback, I always ask, do you think it can be better, or do you think this is the best there can be? Because I think whatever feedback I give will be from my point of view, and my point of view can be biased because I'm only seeing a small part of the entire picture. The person who is doing the work has the entire picture, and if they have the ability to always seek improvement, always be better, they by themselves will be thinking, oh, I think I can do better. I just don't know what to do. And then I can easily come in and say, you can do this, this is better. Becomes a little bit challenging if someone says, no, I think this is the best there is. To which I have to hold them accountable and say, actually, there's other ways it can be done differently, is what my point of view is. Do you agree? If you agree, we are aligned. If not, then you can do the same work in front of others, completely different point of view, and see if you get similar feedback. Then you can take the feedback and implement it. If not, we can go again. I can be completely wrong as well. It's not, there is no absolute right.
Absolutely. That's yeah. Thanks for. I think it's also humbling to hear this kind of perspective from men,
Yeah,
because I think I think we want to, as women, we want to see more leaders in leadership who are predominantly men, to be more emotionally aware and not only be logical,
yeah.
right? Um,
It is so
so,
unfortunate
yeah,
that there are gender associations with logic versus emotional. I think,
yeah,
irrespective of gender, anyone should be equally capable of
exactly,
expanding their IQ or EQ, and not one
absolutely.
gender better in one thing or the other.
Absolutely. But it's I've spoken to, female leaders, and they talk about sometimes how they are perceived as emotional because they are women, or and the vice versa is also true, where men are perceived as logical because they are men. So I think, to your point, everyone should have a balanced um, perspective and a balanced mindset,
Mhm.
both intellectually and emotionally, right? And so I think that's why it's very, every time I talk to you, I'm like, wow, there should be more people like you.
No, very kind. I don't know any about that. I think I am a sum of people around me. So I have,
But you
I
are a
have.
good sum. You are a good sum. It's about
Thank you.
it's about if you are a good sum. Some of people can be bad also.
No, 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 no. I've had the experience of learning from very logical, very rational women, and emotionally available men
I
also.
think, yeah. I think you also say speak about your wife highly, which we will
Yes,
talk about.
yes,
We'll come to that part. But before we go to the next bit, any concluding thoughts on management, leadership, um, what managers expect from employees, their teams, anything, any conclusive thing
yeah,
before
for
we get
sure.
to the next part?
For sure. So, from a manager's perspective, managers love people who take charge of a problem and say, I'm going to solve this. Whether it gets solved or not is a different thing. But people who raise their hand and own certain streams of work always stand out. It's not about visibility. Your work will shine through if you take charge of something. If you are the single threaded owner of a problem, your work will shine through. So from a manager perspective, that is the thing. But if somebody is looking to transition into manager, and they like, I ask people, if you want to be manager in your life, and a lot of the times I hear feedback that, oh, it's so much drama, it's so much work. To them, I would say it's not. It really isn't. One of the main aspects of being a leader or a manager is setting the direction for your team overall and for your business. But as long as you're steadfast in your vision but adaptable in your execution, then you leave yourself enough room to make errors and learn from them yourself. your team, any of that. And that is the main aspect of being a manager, and that is the biggest unknown, whether the goals you set are the right goals or not. But working with people and helping them to succeed in their day to day, setting a set of goals and making a team environment where everybody feels open, and secure to express their point of view. Everyone feels heard. Everyone is happy to work with each other. Those are the fun parts of being a manager. I don't see that as drama in a negative connotation, or work. Oh my god, there's so much I have to have another meeting. No, I would love to talk to people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the fundamental things, right? You, as a manager, like the one of the qualities is that you should want to love to talk to people. It shouldn't be a consuming negative thing, right?
Yeah.
It should be consuming, well, if it is, it's in a positive way. So basically, if you're not that person, you shouldn't be a manager, right?
Yeah, no, you should not. If you don't have the service mentality, you're there to serve. This
Yeah.
is not this. You more than leading, you're serving them. It's
Yeah.
a privilege. If you don't feel it that way, then probably not the right job.
Yeah. And I guess everyone doesn't have to want to be a manager too, right?
No.
Like it's not for everybody. It's just a role where
Correct.
you're doing a certain X, Y, and Z. And I guess to your point, I think when you're in a position to be selfless, to give more, then that's the right mindset, I guess,
It is.
to be a leader,
It is. Yes.
right?
Yes.
And I guess one other question in this topic is, do you think there should be more, young leaders? Because traditionally they've always been, if you look at the statistics, it's always been people who are in their late 40s, early 50s, and I've always believed, and one of the reasons I even started this podcast is because I wanted to invite people who are young,
Yes.
like yourself, who are accomplished, who have pushed the boundaries in some sense. And for me, and for you, it is, being a manager at a young age, and that's why it's not that that's not possible. It's that the world is not accepting, or the world is not accepting of that yet at scale, right? And so I personally believe that we should have a combination, and there should be more acceptance and openness to people of all age groups if they have the capabilities. So I think we should be more competency focused, as you said in the beginning. Do you also think, and you can feel free to disagree with me, but do you also think that people should be more open to hiring managers and leaders at a younger age too?
I am a champion of diversity in leadership, and that diversity, gender diversity, age diversity, racial diversity. Diversity is important because with every individual comes a different kind of context, and context is super valuable in leadership. So, absolutely. Sometimes it happens that some places of work don't have the margin for error for people to fail. Fortunately, that has not been the case for me. I have been given a role where I did not have prior experience in, and I was allowed to fail, and fail I have. Yes.
Yeah,
There's
I think
no.
you had a great manager who hired you.
I have had really good managers. I've had great hiring manager, and they pushed me to the deep end and see me fail and given me the time to turn around, succeed, fail again, and not that kind of fail where it's a wink, wink, nod, nod, haha, I work too much kind of fail. No, actually, fail to deliver on your goals.
That's
How do you fail? I fail to have work-life balance.
That's why I still remember the days where, at some point you were, Priyanka, I only have 10 minutes, or I can't talk to you. And I'd be like, Yudhajeet, are you, like, you're like, yeah, I have too much going on. And I'm like, okay, fine.
Yes.
And,
I have been there. I'm sorry.
No. I mean, and if I've been there at times where I'd be working, on the weekends a lot. And, sometimes, I don't fully agree that there's like, it's a 50-50 thing. It's never like that. I'm sure you know that too, right? Like sometimes it's 100-0, sometimes it's,
0-100.
6. Yeah, there you go. That too, right? So what made you feel then what was that point that you reached where you're like, okay, this is it. Now I need to really focus on my life too.
Yeah, for sure. I think being a manager was a forcing function for me to focus a lot on my life outside of work and my health as well, because I felt there was a direct correlation between how I was feeling to how I was managing. And if I was feeling healthy, if I was eating right, I was taking rest, I was working out, if I was feeling fulfilled, where I was doing my music, I was doing my sports, I was doing all of that, then I did not feel the necessity to get all the validation from work, from being a manager. And it's like you cannot be the world's best husband, or you cannot be the world's best father, you cannot be the world's best manager, because there is no such thing. But as an individual contributor, I wanted to be the world's best solution architect, whatever that meant. It was stupid, right? But I felt that when I did not have that desire to feel validated, the desire to be the best at my work, that's when I was able to really scale. And that happened because I was getting my wins of the day from other sources, from having a thriving family life, from having hobbies and things like that.
Absolutely. Oh my God, that resonates with me so much, Yuji, because I think around the same time when you started singing, which I'm gonna actually make you sing something, so you better be ready
Thank
for that.
you.
But right at the time when you started to pursue your passion, your other
Yeah.
passion, which is singing,
Yeah.
I also started pursuing another passion, which is pageantry, or actually not
Yeah.
pageantry, it was more modeling. And then within that modeling umbrella, I was like, okay, what's a structured platform that I can participate in? And then,
Right.
and also like, I think that was during the time of the pandemic where I was completely isolated. I had moved to a new country right before the pandemic, so I had no friends, no family, nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's safe to say that I was actually depressed.
Uh-huh.
And then when the pandemic kind of got over, is when I was like, okay, I need to talk to people. I need to heal, right, from whatever the isolation was.
Yeah.
And I think pageantry did that for me, and that's why 4 years in, I'm still like last year I competed Miss Universe, right? And I think people think it's about competition, beauty, glamour, whatever. But to me, you what you said initially was finding other forms of validation and finding other people to make you feel confident and better about yourself, because sometimes you're not going to get that in one place. So if you keep looking in the same place, you're not going to find it. And then what's going to happen is, as you said, you're going to bring your worse and worse self to work.
Yes.
Right? It's like a downhill slope. So then, so I borrowed my confidence that I was missing to get from work
Yeah.
in pageantry, because I was, fairly successful, and I was like, wow, this makes me feel really good. And then
Yeah.
I brought that confidence back into my ideas and initiatives at work, and it felt like a more balanced atmosphere, right? Did you feel the same way too?
Yeah, but for sure. I thought my competitiveness, my desire to succeed, quote unquote, if I spend that in other areas of life, that I can truly be present at work. And the role requires me to put myself in the background and
Exactly.
think about others. That can only happen when I have thought enough about myself in other areas of my life, and truly bringing a employee focus kind of thing, and not, okay, I have to say the right thing, I have to do the right thing at work.
You know what, Yuji? Something's really funny reminded me. So now when I'm looking for, like leaders to talk to, or um, new roles that I'm exploring or
Yeah.
anything like that, and I look at the hiring manager, I'm like, the first thing I'm looking for is, do they have any hobbies outside of work?
Stalk them on social media. Do they have a
You know why? It's because I'm like, if this person has no hobbies outside of work, then I'm gonna have a horrible time with them.
they will expect you to be the same.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And or they will, like, there will be some sense of micromanagement, because if you don't have a holistic sense of
Correct.
life, then you're going to be very focused on one thing, and then you're in that way you're actually going to be micromanaging the other people that you may not even be aware you're doing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you
Yeah.
have
For
a more
sure.
holistic focus, you'll also be more open to other people taking time off, or
Yeah.
taking care of their own work-life balance, because you understand the importance of your own work-life balance, right? So
Yeah.
it's funny, because I literally was reaching out to someone higher up at AWS yesterday, and I was like looking at their phone tool, um, our internal registry, right, to see like what do they do outside of work. If they don't, that's like, I swear, that's like the biggest red flag for me now,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
is if someone doesn't have something they're doing outside of work.
Yeah. That's a
So
robot.
yeah, yeah, it's a robot, and that's probably a very toxic person to be around. um,
Yeah.
so you know, you mentioned about competitiveness and the sense of validation and all of that. Does that come from being an immigrant? Or where do you think that comes from? Because, and also, does you being an immigrant play any role, or has played any role in shaping you, not shaping you, well, in being whoever you were being in all the years?
Yeah, I think actually your question makes me think. I have not given it so much thought as to being an immigrant, but interestingly, I kind of felt like an outsider even within my own country, because I come from the state of Tripura, which is a resource deprived state. So we have, I've grown up uh, seeing an India which was very different from a lot of other people, especially in the bigger cities who have seen India. Even going from Agartala to Kolkata for my 11th and 12th, I felt very much like an outsider. Even though I spoke the same language, apparently I spoke in a little bit of a different accent, which and people said, yeah, you will get polished up in a few months. To which I thought, oh, you're saying I'm rough around the edges. So
Right.
what does that really mean? So I think coming from a resource deprived state and coming from a modest background, seeing my parents dedicate their entire lives to raising me has really both given me the resilience and also put that thought in me that the margin for error is small. And I think being an immigrant and coming into this country, I have brought that along, always thinking myself that you have to succeed, because if you fail you might not get another chance. And it's taken me years of work to come out of that mindset and not see life as uh, either you succeed or you fail. But I think more holistically, in this country, in United States, when they say the American dream, I don't see American dream as a white picket fence or even prosperity. I see American dream as an opportunity where you get to decide who you want to be as a person. Because well,
And with a lot
Google,
of, there will be a lot of hardship, by the way. Like, that's the caveat to the American dream, right? Like,
100%.
you're gonna have to wash your own dishes, guys.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
No one's gonna wash your dishes.
But in the process of washing the dishes, not feeling low about yourself is
Yeah.
is I think a learning experience for sure. But yeah, I mean, just learning a lot from the people around me, and just being a more calmer person, capping my peaks and troughs of emotional responses. And I am a very passionate person, and as a result of that passion, I used to have extremities of emotional
Yeah.
responses. Like happiness would be elation, and sadness will be despair.
Yeah.
uh,
I think we both are the same. That's why
yeah.
that's what our vent sessions would mostly comprise of.
Yes, yes, yes.
Just right? So, and that's the reason I asked, because, as an immigrant, like, most people feel this pressure of proving themselves,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Because we're like, oh, we can't go back home.
Correct.
We have to just somehow make it, right?
Lot is at
And
stake.
yeah, and if you talk to someone from here, they're like, oh, what do you mean? I'm just chilling, enjoying life. And they're like, how can you chill?
How can you enjoy life? Enjoy life.
No, what does that look like?
Life is a war.
Yeah,
You have to win it.
exactly, right? And especially being Indian, both of us, we
Yeah.
come from a scarcity mindset, right? Like,
Right.
everything is scarce,
Yes.
resource, like, only one person can be at the top. So I want
Correct.
to be at the top. So,
Correct.
I'm going to work twice as hard to be at the top. And guess what? Hard work's not going to be enough.
No.
I learned that the hard way too.
No.
No pun intended, but like, you even for promotions, for that matter, right? Like, it's about visibility. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure you know it better than me, but people think that if I work 10 times harder than the other person, I'll get promoted, but that's not true. It's about visibility. It's about taking up things that have scale fundamentally.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what, just a quick segue into that.
Sure.
Tell me a little bit more about promotions, and what should people think about if they're trying to get promoted? Is it just working hard, or is there more?
More on the visibility side. Well, hard work is non-negotiable, but it's not. It's not if you work harder that linearly increases your chance for promotion. One of the most underrated parts of a promotion or career success is luck. Being at the right place at the right
And
time,
time, yes, time, and knowing the right people so that
correct.
they refer you.
Finding the right
Yes,
sponsors,
yes.
finding the right sponsors for the right champions for
Tell
you.
us a little bit more about that, please.
For sure, for sure. Um, the sponsors and the champions will speak for you in rooms where you are not present. I think having people who will back you, who will speak on your behalf, on in your absence, is super important. That is how you get responsibilities of bigger areas of work. But first of all, there has to be scope for bigger areas for work. That's where luck and time comes in. If you are in the right business, which is growing at the right time, which has happened with me, been very lucky to be a part of a thriving business for all this while.
But you also found the luck came, but you also were seeking the right opportunities that would fit into this box of luck and time.
I
You meant
was
to say, right?
yes. Being nimble on the feet is important. Being agile is important. There is an element of you make your own luck, but it's both things you can control and things that are outside your hands. But given you are in an area where there is scope for a career growth, then having the champions, having the sponsors, and making sure your work has enough scale which reaches higher up. It is not about posturing mainly, because you're showing that you are doing something, because it's very easy for people who are higher ups to separate the grain from the chaff, really. It's very easy to tell who is doing it for visibility versus who is doing it for real work, and many of the times you will lead things that will not end up in success, that will not get the visibility you want. There's no reason to deprioritize those, because it's good to remember that someone is always watching.
Yeah. And impact, focus on the impact, right?
Yeah. What is actually moving the needle in your business, what is actually impacting your customers, and not just some KPIs here green, or some metrics here which are green. That is not
Yeah.
creating the foundational layers of a sustainable career.
Right. But and so what would make someone speak about you in a room where you're not there?
One of the things is your demonstrated success in the things that you own. If you have owned something and you have success, and there is no substitute for that. Right? You have owned things, you have succeeded. You have owned things, you have failed, but you know exactly why you have failed, and you have done your best to avoid that failure. But sometimes failure happens. Number one. Number two, raising your hand and expressing the desire that I want to own bigger things. I want to own more complex things, because everybody is managing their careers. They won't have epiphany that, okay, Yudhajeet wants to do something bigger today. You have to ask for it. So be your own champion, first of all, and then have champions amplify your asks and your credibility.
And keep that in your side pocket at all times, right? Like
Yes.
that vision of, okay, yes, I'm doing all these things, I'm doing my job and all those things, but I'm also going to focus 10% of my time
In networking.
to networking, creating talking to people. In fact, just yesterday someone reached out to me from AWS saying, hey, I'm also working on this initiative, do you want to help me out with this? And this is someone who's in a higher position. But that's because
Nice.
because I was, so I'm just saying this to say, I mean, this is a thing I'm working on, is I find it hard to talk about myself. So that's another thing I'm working on.
Yep.
I think generally, I don't know if it's an immigrant thing, but we always feel,
We have been raised. What is that? What is that saying? I don't know if it's in your language. The name of a tree is comes from its fruit, and the tree doesn't say its own name. It's some Bengali saying.
oh, I see. Say that in Bengali.
बृक्ष तुम्हारा नाम की फले परिचय.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
पेड़ तुम्हारा नाम क्या है फल में उसका परिचय है.
yeah. No, and also speaking about yourself is also very important, but not in like a way where it sounds,
Braggy.
Where it sounds like you're trying too hard,
Right.
and it gives people the ick. Like,
Right.
oh my God, this person's just, I
Selling
think-
themselves. Pitch.
Yeah, and it's like, and I think it's about like there's a fine line between selling yourself and giving people the ick, where you're like, oh, this person's always talking about themselves. I think that it's the right balance of talking about yourself and talking about the other person,
Correct.
because then you create enough of a balance where the other person also feels like, you also talked about me. So
Yeah.
you're not self-obsessed. Basically, people don't want self-obsessed people.
Yeah.
They want
Yeah.
they want people who love themselves probably, but
Yeah.
not obsessed with
Yeah.
themselves, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the
Yeah. If one person is always talking and not asking me anything, then
yeah.
I'm like, oh,
That's even
okay.
dating red flag, right? Like first date red flag.
Yes.
If you don't ask me anything about me, then okay, that's good. If you're just talking about yourself, bye. See ya.
I I've been with my wife for about 10 years now,
Yeah,
so the term red flag didn't exist back when
I
we started dating. That's a fairly new
I
term.
know it is. It is. And now it's like, oh yeah, that's a red flag. Oh, that's
That's
a
red
yellow flag.
flag.
There's like, there's people, there's things like beige flags, and I'm like,
What?
what? What is this? Yeah, we
What?
didn't have red flags. We just
Beige
talked,
flag.
yeah, we just talked to someone. If someone gave us importance, we just go with it.
It's a beige flag.
That's what I heard. I mean, these are all the Gen Z terms that I'm hearing, and then I start feeling old. I'm like, wait,
Too
I'm just in
funny.
my 30s, and but now I'm like, I don't know what a beige flag is. So,
Oh wow.
and trust me,
This
there's actual
exists.
definitions of this. Yeah, yeah, it's not. I'm not kidding. So,
I'm glad I'm not
that
having to learn these definitions.
you're not in the market
No, no,
anymore.
no, I'm not.
Clearly. So, I know you talked about being an immigrant, trying to prove yourself, all those things. I think that within that same line of thought, um, I think when we try to prove ourselves too much, right, we kind of tie our identity, our sense of self, our entire self to work, and our whole identity becomes that. So let's
Yeah,
say then someone gets laid off. I mean, I know that's an extreme example,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I've seen a lot of people then completely lose their sense of self, their identity, their confidence because they got laid off, right?
yeah,
So to prevent that from happening, and I mean, even I got laid off last year,
yeah.
and I think when I got laid off, it made me realize that thank God I worked on this before I got laid off.
Yeah.
This detachment of the sense of identity, but I still had like some remains of it, like for sure. And I felt like, wow, I feel so replaceable.
Yeah.
Like you feel, yeah, you do feel a little bit like you're not needed. And I think human beings, we have a natural tendency to want to feel needed,
Yeah.
right? But anyway, like so, I think tell me a little bit about how to not do that, or kind of regulate tying your identity to and your entire self-worth to work, because I want people who are listening to this, especially people who in their early career building their career now, to also be able to regulate and put things into perspective when they have a bad day at work, to
Yeah.
know that okay, this is not your whole life, this is a part of your life.
So this question and the topic of layoff you mentioned, it hits me home because I was let go from my previous company, from the startup that I was a part of before Amazon, and my world came crashing down. It really was. The grief, the pain came in different waves, and with every wave, it brought new questions about what I thought about myself. The first wave was the question of incompetence. Am I not good enough? Am I not smart enough? Am I not capable enough? If I was, they would have kept me, right? When I got over that after a lot of work of not it's not about you. Then it came, how did I not see this coming? Oh, I'm too naive. I'm not well networked enough. How did I not have something else lined up? Those kind of things. I was too much into the how can I be so not street smart, those kind of things. It just comes in layers and layers. And I say that experience was the best thing that happened to me, one of
Early
the
on,
best
right?
things in my entire life.
Early on, especially.
Yes, yes. Just gave me a lot of time and opportunity for introspection, a lot of pain, a lot of grief. Losing employment is one of the hardest. Health, employment, and close relative, right? Close
But
family.
yeah, but grief can be a great rock bottom point
Yeah,
from where you
yeah,
can only go upwards, right?
yeah,
I fundamentally truly believe that.
yeah.
Do you also feel the same way?
Yeah, if you have the support systems in place and you are able to channel grief into something bigger, but when you're going through grief with no time, no inclination of whether it will end, if it does, when it will end, you are completely mired in grief. It might feel very lonely. And because we spoke about this earlier in the podcast, those days I definitely felt, oh, my mother said I would work for NASA. Here I am, being let go from my first job. That doesn't correlate. Something went wrong in the middle, uh, without understanding that nothing has to go wrong in the middle. It's just a part of life. I know that now, but back then, early in my career, it was very difficult to process.
Mm. And so, did that, or even eventually, how did you find a way to detach from work? I know that you are a new parent. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Um,
Yes.
but did having I know, and then I know at some point you got married, and then you started your singing, then now you have a kid, right? So that
Yeah.
in that order. So did marriage change anything for you? Then did singing, then did having a child. How did that change things for you
Yeah.
and put things into perspective?
Yeah, for sure. I think, well, singing. I've been singing for 32 years, so singing has always been my source of peace. If at the end of the day, even if I'm nothing else, I'm still a singer. So that is something nobody can take away from me. So having the connection of music has always been my friend. My mother used to say that, you sing for yourself, right? You will always, like, you have books. When you read, you have books are your friends. Musical instruments, they are my friends, and they will never leave my side, no matter where I work or whether I work. So that definitely helped, and having the support systems, my parents, my wife, and she was my partner at the time, and we married about 4 years after that. But having your support systems, to share some of the pain, that helps. And yeah, I would say relying on support systems, relying on other activities, hobbies, having the financial safety net also helps. So it's imperative that we create the financial safety net when the times are good, so that doesn't add additional grief, that anxiety, that fear doesn't add additional grief to a already difficult situation.
Yeah.
I did not know any of that. I was in every kind of grief imaginable at the time.
I know what you mean. Yeah. But I know that you're not a woman,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm
Not that I know of.
but do you think that women should be, because you talked about financial safety and having that net as well, that can help.
Yeah.
Do you think women should be financially independent?
Um, ours is the first generation in our culture. Ours is the first generation where women, still not to a complete extent, but women have the ability to earn their own living. That has not happened at a scale at our generation is happening for the first time, right? So there are a lot of things to unlearn first, while learning new things as well. I think it is absolutely important for everyone to be financially independent, including women. Uh, it's not so much about the money, but about the ability to make your own decisions and lead your own life, because money is power. And if you don't have to defer to someone else to have that say about your own life, it is very empowering. And irrespective of the amount in the bank balance, the having the liquidity to make your own decisions, it reflects in confidence. It reflects the way one turns up in their own life, and it's super important for women, given where we are coming from in our previous generation.
Absolutely. And just a follow-up question to that. I mean, first of all, so glad you have this perspective. Um, I think all Indian men should listen to this. But apart from that, do you think that women should be, or do you think that there are gender roles now, in parenting and things like that? Or do you think that, what is your view now of parenting, that you, now that you're a new parent, but also what has always been your view? I'm sure that it would have always been your view, and how has sort of marriage and then being a parent in this generation, what would you say to all people who are parents, where both partners are working? What would you say to them, and what would you want them to know in terms of
um,
gender roles?
yeah, for sure. I've been a parent for 8 weeks, so I think any of my opinion will be fairly fresh. So I haven't had a lot of time to make concrete opinions. But if you're asking specifically through the lens of gender roles, in a marriage, we try to not have specific gender roles. There aren't activities that only one person can do and the other person cannot. I think this is. Uh, there is equal participation, equal intention of running a household, running careers from both. But that flips in parent. I cannot get pregnant, I cannot give childbirth, I cannot nurse a baby. There are a lot of the things I cannot do, and those by default fall on the mother. And those are not three tasks, they those are life changing activities which one has to go through. My wife is going through every single day, every 2 hours, 3 hours, right? Which I cannot do. So suddenly, there is a gender role which I am
Yeah.
biologically incapable to fulfill. Logistically, if there are roles I can fulfill instead, absolutely do that. Uh, but also, I think one of the most important things is having open communication, because so that there is no resentment from any particular individual, and there is no blame game, right? It is not, if something goes wrong and there is an emotional reaction from us, it's not about pointing fingers or assigning blames. It's about like being a team and doing the best we can. Some days it looks good, some days not so much. But making sure that we are a team in this new phase of life. But fatherhood and parenthood has been a joy so far. i
Absolutely.
i would highly recommend.
Yeah,
10 on 10 would rate it.
I can see it on your face. Yeah, you just
Thank you.
have the glow now. Yeah. Not that you didn't have it before, you just are glowing more.
The glow of sleeping less, yes.
Yeah, the reason I asked that question is because, still there are a lot of men who think that even modern, I'm not talking about uneducated, very educated men who are in the workforce, still I've heard them saying things like, "Oh, that's my wife's thing." Oh, she's gonna do that, and the wife is also working, so it's not like she's just sitting at home. So, and at the surface layer, it looks like we're all empowered, and we have an equal society. But if you look under the layers, it's not really very equal
No, not
in a
so
lot
much.
of ways, right? And so that's why I wanted to kind of also bring this to the surface and shed light on the fact that we are still a long ways from being an empowered society where there is actual equity and equality, where women and men both are contributing equally to the household, and then by extension to career,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I think it ties back to the introspection point you mentioned. I don't think working versus not working should have that much difference, because managing a household is a full-time work. Running a household is requires a lot of work and a lot of intentionality, a lot of brain space, right?
Only if it is respected, though. That's the problem, is the respect.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure, a lot of the times people feel that, okay, I'm doing everything that I was asked, but asking someone to do that also takes effort. Right?
You hit the nail. You hit the nail. Yeah, it's actually, there's a term for it. I forgot what it's called, but it's basically, yeah, even having the mental checklist of what needs to be done is
Yeah,
also a task.
yeah,
And so just doing it because you were asked to do doesn't mean, it comes back to the point you said actually, which is ownership.
yeah.
Ownership means you
Just do it.
you take the task
Yeah,
and you own the task from start to finish, right?
yeah,
Without being told
yeah.
to do. Because yeah, so no, that's a very, very good point, and I think all women would love to hear this segment. If not anything else about career, they're like, oh, there are men like this too. Oh,
No,
that's great.
I don't take credit for that. I learned that in my marriage from my wife,
But you
who
did.
is wonderful.
Yeah.
And is responsible for a lot of growth that has happened in me. But yes, I think this is a very valid point which I was not aware of. Right, keeping a clean house, for example, and you say, "Oh, you asked me to do this, and I did it." But why didn't I do it myself? I
Right.
should have thought of it. I appreciate a clean house. Like, why
Yeah.
wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I think about it myself? But
Yeah.
yeah, always room for improvement. Always room for
No,
growth.
but that's the thing. I think that's what women seek. I think women seek just a partner who we can grow with, and that is a good listener, and that is willing to learn, right?
Yeah.
Open to learning.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised, or maybe not, but there's a lot of people who are not open to learning, and then a lot of the emotional um, and just the general household weight falls on women who are also working. And I've seen a lot. I've literally heard people in my friend circle who are managing the kid, managing the household, managing everything with no respect at all, because it's supposed to be your job. Or yeah, or in and then going back to India, because I'm very much tied to the challenges that Indian women face,
Hmm.
because I want to stand up for women from where I'm from.
Right.
And and this is to this date, these are educated families, Yujit, and the women, right after getting married, is told, oh, you know what, now you're married, so now you can stop working.
Yeah.
And the husband will give you 20,000 rupees allowance to do whatever you want to do, shop and all those things.
Allowance.
Yeah, you see, it sounds like, so now she might initially feel like, wow, he's giving me 20,000 rupees, great. But in reality, that's control disguised as
It's a
empowerment,
it's a
right?
parent-child relationship. It's not a partner
Exactly,
relationship giving allowance.
exactly. So that's the reason I brought this segment up, even in the context of early career, because if women um, are not able to contribute to, or if women don't have a supportive partner, they cannot contribute to career in the way that men do. And then that's where the pay gap comes from. That's how the pay gap is justified. That's how a lot of gaps are justified in the industry,
Yeah.
because women, or even, as you said, right, like the concept of pregnancy and the concept of breastfeeding, and those things actually consume time, right? And I think women need to be given time to do those things
Yeah.
without making them feel less
Absolutely.
to exist in the workforce,
Absolutely.
right?
Men should have some supportive partner, and that should not be taken for granted either. If I am able to build a successful career, every extra hour I put in work is an hour I take away from my family, and that has only happened because I have had a supportive partner. So yeah, it goes both ways. But both me and my wife, we share a lot of common traits. One of the things we share is like a desire to grow, introspection, desire to be better, learning from each other, learning from around the world. And yeah, that has worked for us. But I have seen my mother give up her career, and dedicate her entire life to raising me, right? And she would always say that a lot of the work done in the household is taken for granted, and words of appreciation should be the bare minimum. So I
And
I,
what,
I, I try to learn from that and try to assign words of affirmation and words of appreciation, and which is why communication is so important.
yeah,
Having an open
absolutely.
line of communication, but those are important because like words of affirmation and validation is like the bare minimum we can do, right?
Absolutely, Yuji. Thank you for sharing the what you shared about your mom as well, and how you learned from that.
Yeah.
In fact, even my mom, my dad is very open-minded, and he
Yeah.
encouraged her to go and pursue her dreams and all those things. But even in that context where you have a supportive environment, even then, my mom felt like she had to follow my dad's career
Yeah.
and relocate every time he had to.
Yeah.
So it's not like, in this case, you can't even blame my dad. It's just my mom feeling like like being a good wife
Yeah.
meant that you have to sacrifice your career
Yeah.
for the sake of your husband, right? And so this is, a lot of it is even self-inflicted. Of course, it's not really self-inflicted, but in that context, it is. So I think, and so our message to all women is also, stopping, try to intentionally stop the generational chain,
Yeah.
right? The generational expectations that are put on you. Recognize that, because now I think we are in a much better time to 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 change, to bring that
Hmm.
change for yourself and for the next generation after you.
Yeah. I wouldn't call it self-inflicted at all. Actually, I think that was the societal norm, and it is not easy to go against the societal norm. We are again the first generation to choose our partners, to get married to our partners, and to pursue the kind of jobs we want in different cities than we were born in. That is a lot of privilege which our parents did not have, and they have dedicated their lives to make sure we have these privileges. But you cannot say you. It's hard to think that, oh, you chose this, so suck it up.
Yeah,
But a
yeah,
lot of the times they did not. They were married off
yeah,
to people our grandparents thought would give them good life.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah.
Any other closing thoughts before we do the rapid fire, and then where I'm going to make you sing right after. But
Okay.
before that, any closing thoughts on career growth for early career, work-life balance, leadership, AI, any of the or immigrant mindsets, any of those topics. Any closing points?
Uh, those are multitude of topics, because if we start talking about AI,
Yeah.
that will take
No,
the
I'm
whole
just giving
day.
you the choice, whatever you want to pick from, to where you feel the most inclined to close on.
um I would close on the things that I value from my team, from my business. I think I am of the belief that people make the world go around, and not technology. People use technology, not the other way around. So it is important that we put people at the center of everything that we do. And before we put others in the center, we have to put ourselves in the center. So it starts with focusing on health, focusing on having a holistic life, having a good network, having good friends, support systems at home, hobbies, and trying to lead a balanced life as much as possible. Reading a balanced life every day is probably impossible, because there are huge variances from day to day, hour to hour, especially in demanding jobs like ourselves. Like you said, 100-0 one day, and it might flip the other side. uh, but trying to draw a balance on a larger window of time, and it's like a balance is a mirage. So just taking steps towards that,
Yeah.
and not being too harsh on ourselves, because nobody's thinking of ourselves as much as we think of ourselves. So everybody is leading their lives, they have their own priorities. Just give yourself a little bit of grace, and in your day-to-day life, in the life you lead, and the areas of happiness you seek joy from. Just give yourself a little grace. It's gonna be all right.
Thank you. I think, this was very well put, Yudhajeet. I think because, as someone who's a manager in tech in a very demanding company like AWS, still focusing on health, focusing on well-being, holistic well-being, it's very telling. And so, it's not about just focus on health, but it's about who's telling people to do this,
Yeah.
and that's important too. And I completely agree with that, and that's why uh, in a lot of my podcasts where I talk solo, I specifically focus on meditation and health, and I'm sure people who are watching must be like, what the hell is she talking about? I'm trying to find a job here,
Yeah.
right? But really, sometimes even in interviews it's as we talked about, we can know less, but if we come across as desperate and not centered, we're going to lose it.
Yeah.
And how do you become centered is by doing something that is a meditative process to
Yeah.
find peace, like for you, that which is singing, right? So
Yeah.
maybe we should do you want to do the rapid fire first or the singing first?
Up to you. You're the boss.
Wow, if for at least once in 9 years someone's Okay, I guess we can leave the fun part for the end. Let's do the rapid fire
Oh,
one.
this was serious so far.
No, it was fun, but it's more fun. The singing is the funnest part.
Okay.
So yeah. Okay, you ready to go? So you just answer one sentence or one word, right?
Yeah. No room for
Oh,
explanation.
yeah, no room for explanation. It's
Yeah.
don't think, do the opposite of what you've been doing as a manager.
No political correctness.
Exactly. Okay, it's just a fun segment for people to know you a little bit
Okay.
more, and yeah. Okay, so okay, hard work or visibility?
Hard work.
Okay. Talent or consistency?
Consistency.
I knew it. Okay. Manager or mentor?
Mentor.
Technical skills or communication skills?
Communication skills.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. IQ or EQ? I think I know this.
EQ.
I knew it. Okay. This is interesting. Remote work or office? Going to the office?
It's a controversial one. Office work.
Office work.
Yeah.
Okay. Specialist or generalist?
Specialist. In the age of information overload, specialist.
Good point. Confidence or competence?
Competence.
Degree or experience?
Experience. Every day.
You said that at the beginning, yeah. Ambition or balance?
Balance.
Now you're like, I'm still figuring that out.
different phases of life. Maybe early in the career, ambition. Midway into the career, maybe balance.
That's true. What a great way to say both answers.
Ambitious way to keep balance.
Ambition. That's funny. Okay, biggest mistake young professionals make.
Trying to prove themselves too hard.
One thing employees worry about too much.
Trying to read the manager much more than required. I think if there is any confusion, always best to ask rather than trying to understand tone from a message or reading between the lines. Okay, what is it that they did not say?
I love this. Is something everyone would want. Nice.
Trying to understand, working backward from the manager is never never a good use of time.
Yeah, basically you're saying that a manager is also a human being, a flawed,
Of course.
full human being, right? Yeah.
course.
One thing employees don't worry about enough.
Network, I would say. I would say the cheesy term, your network is your net worth, is very valid. I think sometimes we only surround ourselves with the people we work with, but I think being open to what is happening around the world, around your LinkedIn network is as important as your immediate colleagues. So
Absolutely.
not to get complacent.
Yeah. By the way, it's not cheesy. That is literally the thumbnail of my previous episodes.
I'm sorry, I called it cheesy.
Hey, whatever. All press is good press.
no publicity, bad publicity. But yeah, it is. I buy it. I believe it.
I truly, I feel like my whole life I was not a great student or anything. I just feel like I'm some of, as you said, you are some of your people. I'm the sum of my network.
Yeah.
Actually, the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, career truth people don't want to hear.
That a large part of your career journey is luck based. So along with all the hard work you are putting, know that there is a huge amount of probability that plays into it. So in good times, be humble that you are at the right place at the right time. In bad times, give yourself grace. You could not have controlled it.
Be grateful you're alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes that helps,
It does. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, promotion or pay raise?
I would say promotion because I would like to believe that pay is a lagging indicator. As long as I'm getting paid less than what I'm worth, it's always better to be getting paid more than what I'm worth. So
That's funny. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair. Okay. Would you want to be liked or respected?
Respected. I think, especially in my position, it's difficult to be liked at all times.
Should everyone always want to be respected or before being liked?
No, it's individual preference. I don't have a problem with people not liking me because sometimes I have to make hard decisions because that's the role. That's my job. It's difficult to make everyone happy. But if somebody is like people pleasing and it affects them a lot, if there is any kind of dislike from other person, it's difficult to detach yourself.
I think I'm working on being okay with not everyone liking me. And not even liking, being okay with judgment. Yeah.
Do you think there is a gender connotation to that?
There is.
Yeah.
Yep. Thanks for calling that out. And there is, and this is the space to be honest. So I think it's because women fundamentally feel like we need to, like, that we are less, and we feel insecure because of that. And again, that's not self-inflicted, as you said. It comes from the generational patriarchy of where it benefited from women feeling less, because if
Yep.
women were empowered, then
Yep.
we wouldn't accept less, right?
Yeah.
So I think and that's why I think these kinds of conversations are important, because I think more women, like I've seen women even in leadership positions saying this. I mean, in fact, the most recent guest episode is with a senior director who's a woman,
Hmm.
and I asked her about these questions, and and she's not Indian and still had the same viewpoint that yes, women do feel insecure, and my personal belief is to actually address it, talk
Yeah.
about it, so we can actually like remove it
Yeah.
instead of pretending like we're secure.
Yeah.
You know?
Misogyny and patriarchy cross boundaries. It's cross cultural. It's cross geographical. Every culture has some form of patriarchy or misogyny, which I'm seeing. But also the judgment that you said, being judged negatively, has different consequences for a woman as compared to a man.
Oh, like
Much
what?
graver consequences for a woman. The negative judgment sometimes goes beyond professional ways. It bleeds into making judgment of character traits and things like that. uh, and it's much kinder. The negative judgment is much kinder for when it comes to men.
That
So
you know what, I have experienced that, and I've actually also heard about that from women, female startup founders.
okay.
When people are making investments, the kind of questions that investors ask female founders are very different than what they ask male founders, because there's a premise that, oh, if you're a man, you're wearing a coat, of course you know what you're doing.
Mm.
If you're a woman, you're like,
You have to
let me
prove.
first see if you know what you're doing.
You have to prove. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to prove. Yeah. Nice. Okay, so what's more exhausting, parenting or management?
I would say neither. Again, being a parent for only 8 weeks. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Logistically different challenges.
Well, okay, I'll pivot. One thing parenting has taught you that you didn't think you would learn. Maybe that.
um, I would say the ability to love someone who did not exist 8 weeks ago, and something that me and my wife created, something unique that's half me and half her. This person did not exist, and now he has become our world. Um,
You
one
just
one
gave me
funny
goosebumps.
anecdote. Sorry.
You just gave me goosebumps.
One funny anecdote I'll share is his eyes are apparently like mine. So I'm trying to put him to sleep in darkness, and suddenly in the darkness I'm seeing he's open. He's not sleeping at all. So he just opens his eyes and looks at me, and look, my eyes staring back at me. It is interesting. It's like I've seen
Surreal.
those eyes in
Yeah,
the mirror all my life.
yeah. It's surreal. I'm sure, right? Like seeing a part of you outside of you. You're like, wait.
It is. It
Wait.
is. It is. But
Yeah,
how you can love something completely, and that quickly your life
hmm,
changes on a dime is
I
is
see.
fascinating.
I see. Wow. You literally, I got goosebumps twice in like less than a minute. You should be a TED speaker now. That's the next thing.
That's the next gig.
Okay, two more questions.
Sure.
So what's one hobby, or no? Uh, I guess, I mean, the question was what's one hobby everyone should have. But if you want to answer it differently, go ahead. But it's in the context of hobbies.
Anything that brings true joy to someone, whether they are not trying to prove something to the external world, not trying to appear smart by reading, or appear fit by running, or something like appear talented. Anything that brings that person joy is the whole person of the happy hobby. Who are you when no one is watching?
And it's meant to just truly fulfill you as a
Yes.
person, right? Yep.
Yes. Nobody else cares about your hobby, honestly.
Absolutely. And it also helps you rewire your brain to not seek validation constantly.
Super important.
I actually do that by, and I don't mean to brag. I mean, I see this is, yeah, area of improvement. Uh, I go to the animal shelter and the human shelter and
Yeah.
every month and try to like donate stuff, and they don't
Yeah.
know I'm donating. They don't care. Like, and I'm sure they're not even very grateful. Animals, yeah, well, they don't know. They don't. Yeah, they don't know
Yeah.
how to be grateful. And humans, they don't. They're not going to be grateful because they don't know who's donating, and I don't get anything out of it.
Hmm.
Like, like from a validating standpoint. So I'm like, huh, I got nothing out of this.
Yeah.
This is interesting. So, it creates a new neural pathway, right? For you to like actually enjoy doing that without seeking. So now
Without.
my instinct is to like not, like I don't even seek the validation. Now I just go drop it off and I'm like, oh, okay, what's the next thing to do? You
Right.
know? Because your brain's no more thinking in that direction. So, and actually that's one thing I wanted to be. I wanted to be selfless
Hmm.
as a person. And the way to be selfless, the path for me was to do something for other people knowing that you're not going to get anything in return.
Yeah.
Is that summarizing what you said about hobbies
It
and
does. Hobbies more like activity, but volunteering. If you're bringing the volunteering angle, I think that
anything? Yeah,
I think I,
anything.
I think that is the right way to do volunteering. Again, a Bengali saying the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is giving. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand is
Right
giving
hand is giving.
because
Yeah.
the left hand is bad, right?
Oh my God.
I don't like.
I know that's so weird. We have this stereotype,
Yeah.
weird stereotype, right? And you know what's funny?
What did left hand
Yeah,
do?
I don't know.
Poor
And
left.
and you know what's funny is in North India, so my partner is Punjabi, so
Yeah.
they don't have that concept. I think it's more like from after like a little bit of the northern states, then everywhere else down south kind of believes this left hand thing apparently. So because he eats with both his hands, and I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, that's
Oh
disrespectful.
wow.
And I'm like, he's like, what do you mean? It's my left hand. And I'm like, why are you eating with your left hand?
Yeah.
It's like because it's a hand.
Yeah.
And then, so I'm like, ew, that's gross.
Yeah.
He's like, something's wrong with you. You change your
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
You know?
It's in our head. Like, don't
Yeah,
give a business card with left hand. Don't
exactly.
worship with left hand. It's
Like
poor
what?
hand.
Yeah, I know it's really weird. So for all the non-Indians watching this, yeah, this is going to be sound funny to you guys.
Yeah.
But okay, last question. What does success mean to you, and what should it mean to everybody?
uh, Success will mean different things to different people, and I think to me it would mean um, becoming the being the person who I want to be at this stage in life would be success. And I think that is an umbrella that will encompass a lot of things: physically, mentally, spiritually, financially. A lot of things, a lot of elements come into this. It's a constant balance, but if I can hit a little bit of each on different days, but basically being content with who I am, and just know that perfection is always an intention and never the destination. It's a journey, but just being content, being balanced, being holistic. That is success to me. Everything else is trivial.
And that's very well put. And just to add to that, um, surround yourself with good people. And I think for me, Yudhajeet, thank you for your friendship over the years. Thank you for indulging me.
Oh, no,
And
it was never an indulgence. It was always a good conversation.
no, I appreciate that. And I never take for granted when people speak with me. Never. Because, why should someone speak with me? Sure, I might be the most interesting person, but sure, like, it's still their time. So I find joy. I create joy in my own head by thinking, oh wow, this person wants to talk to me again. Even if it's my mom, I'm like, wow, my mom wants to talk to me today. Because sometimes when people, we have this thing where, oh, someone's that we've never spoken to, we want to talk to.
Yeah.
But once they're in our inner circle, then we're like, now who cares about it?
Take for granted.
Yeah, with this natural tendency, right? So I try to take every interaction as a joy, a personal sense of joy, and speaking to you actually has been empowering in so many ways in every conversation that we've had. And we started off professionally, and now we're like friends on WhatsApp, and now we're doing this podcast. So thank you for also coming on the podcast and sharing so much of your time with us. I know you said you blocked the whole afternoon to do this, so genuinely, I appreciate it because you could be doing so many things. You could be climbing Mount Everest, but you're here doing stuff. So I appreciate
Probably
that.
not that, but
Something, I always imagine that people could be doing anything else but talking to me, right? So it's a great joy. And before we conclude, I want our viewers to see what an amazing singer you are. So can you please, pick your guitar and play a quick song, quick bit for us?
sure. This is. I have not done a podcast where I have
This
sung.
well,
So
this is a unique one.
yeah,
You
it
know
is
me. I'm a very random casual person. So
it is a unique
yeah,
one. Is the guitar coming?
yeah.
First of all, thank you for such an enlightening podcast and for asking questions which allows the conversation to go 2-3 layers deeper, which peels back the formality and the talk tracks that we are trained on.
Don't
but
remind me.
but goes to show who the person really is. So thank you for bringing out the authenticity and the genuineness in your guests. So in terms of genuineness, here it goes. नाचा चाकरी के मारे नाचा सौतन पुकारे सावन आएगा तो पूछेगा नाचा रे पिकी पिकी बेसुआ दिए रतियां काटो रे कटे ना अब तेरे बिना सजना सजना कटे ना काटे ना तेरे बिना बेसुआ दी रतियां हो सजना हो दम दर जश्न जश्न दम दर जश्न दम दर दम ओ हमदम बिन तेरे क्या जीना ओ दम दर जश्न जश्न दर दर जश्न दर दम ओ हमदम बिन तेरे क्या जीना.
Wow, I did not realize. I knew you were a good singer, but I didn't realize you were this good of a singer.
Thank you.
Wow, I was
You're
like,
very kind.
as you were singing, I was like, whoa, what? Like that was how my head was going. Wow, thank you so much.
No,
Thank you.
thank you.
This was amazing. Thank you for being on the podcast, and I'm sure that our viewers, would find moments of joy and peace and a sense of belonging, hopefully. So thank you to everyone for watching the podcast, and we'll see you again with another guest and another episode. Until then, have a wonderful rest of your week and stay healthy and stay safe. Bye.
Thank you.